During the first few weeks of January, we get to see some of the best high school players compete against each other in both the Under Armour All-American Game and the All-American Bowl game. It gives a glimpse of the future when it comes to college football, and is sometimes the first time fan bases get to see their future players on a national stage. Through a two-part series, I will be talking about the history of these games and what makes them different. Today, we will be talking about the Under Armour All-American Game. The Under Armour All-American Game was first played on January 5th, 2008, and is a high school all-star game that takes place in Florida, showcasing some of the nation's top high school seniors. Throughout its history, the game has been played in St. Petersburg at Tropicana Field and Camping World Stadium in Orlando. The game is sponsored by Under Armour and enjoys a national audience thanks to broadcast partners ESPN, with the first edition of the game being broadcasted on ABC opposite the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. The game is co-owned by a Chicago-based sports marketing agency, Intersports, and ESPN. Notable alumni of the game include Julio Jones, AJ Green, Jadeveon Clowney, Jameis Winston, Landon Collins, Myles Garrett, Leonard Fournette, Kyler Murray, Jabril Peppers, and Dalvin Cook. According to UA Next, the next generation of gridiron superstars show out every year at the All-American Football Game. More than 100 of the nation's best players are elevated by Under Armour to spend a week in Orlando, Florida, training and competing at the highest level. So how are players recruited to these all-star games? Well, for the Under Armour All-American Game, national recruiting analysts and talent evaluators from ESPN Scouts Incorporated will select players for both rosters. 8 of the top 10 players in the ESPN 150 competed in the 2009 game. Because there are a number of All-American games concurrently, they are in competition for players. About 100 players are invited annually, with some having the opportunity to also participate in a televised skills competition and other ancillary events held at Disney's Wide World of Sports complex in the days prior to the game. In addition, ESPNU televises the team practices. As of 2019, 180 alumni of the Under Armour All-American Game have been selected in the NFL Draft, including 47 first-round draft picks and 21 NFL Pro Bowlers. It is almost like college football recruiting, but different. Mike Herndon from AL.com wrote back in 2013, the key, or at least one of them, is to act early. If you wait until a prospect's senior year, you may be too late. Identify the future stars, build a relationship, then follow them through their high school careers. And when the time comes, hopefully they'll pick you. Trey Williams explained his decision to play in the Under Armour All-American Game over the Army game in 2013, saying, "They both invited me, but I got so much feedback on the Under Armour All-American Game that it's so much fun and it's also really competitive, and they were also the first ones to offer me." The U.S. Army All-American Game is affiliated with 24/7 Sports, while the Under Armour All-American Game is linked to ESPN. These two events are viewed as the top 2 high school all-star games for football. Tom Luganbill, who is a part of the 3-person committee that selects players for the Under Armour All-American Game, told Herndon, "The way I look at it, it's like a college going out and competing, but instead of there being 30 of them, there are only 2. Luganbill said the name recognition of the game's alumni is the biggest selling point in attracting players. In particular, he said attracting Jones, Green, Daquan Bowers, and EJ Manuel in the game's first year in 2008 put the game on the map and established it as a competitor to the U.S. Army All-American Game, which began playing in 2001. All of those guys were the high-profile premier guys for the class that year, and prior to us coming onto the landscape, we were selling a phantom product. When those guys put their faith in ESPN and Under Armour to put on a first-class event and the first-class product, I think what that did resonated, and it sent a message to the 09 class and the 2010 classes. All of a sudden, our job wasn't as tough of a sell. The selection committee needs to develop relationships with these players a lot like college recruiters need to, and the sponsorship of the game may also affect the decision." Herndon writes, "Each game has its pluses. The Under Armour game has the attraction of being headquartered for the week at Disney's Wide World of Sports facilities. 4-star Georgia commit Nick Glass, meanwhile, said the sponsor played a role in his decision selecting the U.S. Army All-American Game. I'm sticking with the Army All-American Game, doing it for the troops. They make it safe for us to even play the game of football. Just like in college recruiting, some players can even take offers to play in these games as soon as 8th grade, which is wild in my opinion." One of the selection members told AL.com, "I think 2014 running back Sony Michel kind of jump-started this trend when we were able to see him down at the East Bay Youth All-American 8th grade game 3.5 years ago. Sony was invited in 2010, and since that day we've invited over 60 players that were in the 8th grade game at some point before their senior season." Hey you! Yeah, you! If you were invited to both the Under Armour All-American Game and the All-American Bowl Game, which one would you choose? Let me know in the comment section below. If you're enjoying this video, make sure to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it because it really helps the video in the algorithm. When it comes to the Under Armour All-American Game, as of 2018, 200 players who had played in the game were from the state of Florida, with Texas following with 140 and Georgia with 90 players. Craig Hobart told the Orlando Sentinel, "If you look at recruiting, there are 4 states that kind of lead the way in prospects, and that's Florida, Texas, California, and Georgia. You could argue that Florida is the pinnacle of those 4 states. In the last 5 cycles, including 2018, Florida has produced the most ESPN 300 prospects, so this is the home game for these guys on a national stage representing what is arguably the top state for talent in the country." As of 2018, there's also a darker side of the game. Players do get hurt from time to time playing in these games. In 2013, Torrey Hunter Jr. broke his femur in practice, while Jordan Cunningham re-aggravated a bad knee injury. Cunningham told USA Today, "It's a big game. The best of the best are out there, so you want to go ahead and play, but my knee started getting worse." While some may be concerned about injuries, others wish they could perform in more All-Star games, with Laquan Treadwell telling USA Today, "Injuries are in every player's mind, and your coaches are the ones that don't want you to play All-Star games. But most players want to play in as many All-Star games as you can play in. I wouldn't say this is a risk. I'm out here trying to see where my game is against the best. It's like an early college game. If I didn't go to this game, I would be more nervous about college." While Dontrell Wilson spoke on the understanding between all players, saying, "You talk to some of these guys, we tell them to not hit low and take care of us. As long as the hits are up, it's all good. As long as it's nothing low or dirty, it's fine. It's football, you can't expect guys to be sissies." While Sebastian LaRue went on to say, "Whenever you play in this game, it's a physical game. You can't go out there thinking about getting hurt. That's the quickest way to get hurt. There are some unwritten rules in All-Star games. Are you really going to be blocking me, or are you really going to be low blowing me on the side or blindside me?" But some guys are not going to follow those rules. They're not trying to be selfish, they're just trying to make the play, and it happens. Going into tomorrow's Under Armour All-American Game, which returns after a year off due to the events of 2020, assuming that there are limited setbacks moving forward, the invite-only event will provide those inside the scouting community and fans a comprehensive look at some of the top talent in the class of 2020, with 32 of 24/7 Sports Composite Top 50 ranked recruits set to compete alongside one another. Travis Hunter, Connor Wigman, CJ Hicks, Evan Stewart, and Walter Nolan are some of the top prospects playing in the game. Texas A&M will be the best represented team with 15 players playing in the game. Harold Perkins is also expected to make his college decision tomorrow, along with Javonte Barnes and Jacoby Matthews. The Under Armour All-American Game should be a fun one to watch and could provide some excitement for the future of college football. What do you think? Will you be watching any of these All-Star games? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out my other videos right here. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.